So, straight up, all of you out there wanting to improve your dating life, your social life, your charisma, and you want to not only attract women, but you want to meet the right girl for you, right? Without facing a lot of risk and without making things feel like you have to put on this fake persona or this pseudo alpha fake frame because you've watched way too much dating content and completely corrupted your brain. You're going to want to stay with me for the next 5 to 15 minutes, because rest assured, if you actually have focus and you can stay with me for the next 5 to 15 minutes, not only is this story and what I teach you going to be super impactful, but you're going to discover that meeting the types of women that you want and actually getting the types of relationships that you want out of life is far, far, far easier than you could ever imagine. So here goes. A couple days ago, I meet this fairly attractive, like I think she's hot. Like I met a fairly attractive girl. And I'm talking to her, okay? And I'm talking to her online, and I get her number. And then a couple days go by, and we end up calling each other. Now, right off the bat, I'm going to teach you a little lesson. Most guys, what they do if they get a girl's number is they instantly think that they have to call her that day, right? Or they think that they have to call her that night. And if the girl's busy, they think it's low interest. Or if the girl has to take a couple days to get to you, they think, oh, I'm not alpha enough. I'm not high value enough. If I was alpha enough, if I was more high value, she'd make me a bigger priority. If it was Leonardo DiCaprio up there, right, she'd be texting back. It's a crock of shit, okay? Girls have their own life going on. Between college, a lot of them have, jobs. A lot of them work 8-9 hours a day, just like you do. You should be working 8-9 hours a day on your business, your purpose, those things too. You have to understand where I'm coming from. So I get this girl's number, and literally, like, probably don't get to talk to her for 2 to 3 days. That's okay, right? I have my own social life already. I have my own life going on. Right off the bat, you have to understand that. So I asked her for her number, okay? When I got on the phone with her, right then and there, she goes, I'm super excited to talk to you, or something along the lines of how all the other guys that she's met, whether that be through school or whether that be on Tinder or whether that be on Bumble or whether that be on Instagram, she goes, all the guys that I've met are super weird. And it just made me delete all of my dating apps because all of them ask me for my Snapchat. She goes, you're actually the first guy I've ever had in months who picked up the phone and called me. And I was sitting in my hot tub, okay, and I was sitting in my hot tub for like a couple hours, and I took just like 30, 40 minutes to like actually just call this girl and talk to her. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because from the outside looking in, guys who have watched far too much dating content, guys who have made this far more complex than it needs to be, they look at that and they go, oh, you're telling me you actually picked up the phone and you called a girl who you haven't met and you gave her 40 minutes of your time? You did something like that? That's so beta. Look how low value that is. Like, dude, I was the only guy that actually picked up the phone and talked to her. The uncomfortable truth of female nature that you probably don't like to swallow is that they will only reward men who are confident enough to put themselves out there. However, I do not want you to think that being confident has to be this fake placebo bullshit of being fake alpha and treating people disrespectfully or being rude and being brash when A, that's not you. B, you know that never was you. And C, you're going to look weird in the first place. Like for majority of you, if you would just work up the nuts to just walk up and say the words, hello, how's your day going? Do you have to understand what a step in the right direction is? Do you actually realize how powerful and how enticing that is to a woman? Do you actually realize and recognize that you, just by you saying that in a normal tone of voice, just by saying hi, you're going to look and appear as if you have more confidence than literally 95% of guys on planet Earth. Most guys on planet Earth cannot walk up to a girl and just say, hello, how are you doing? How's your day going? So the fact that you can do that separates you from the pack. Now, when I'm on the phone with this girl, right, I slip in a few good lines. I'm serious, but she can't tell if I'm being sarcastic. She's laughing the whole time. There's obviously chemistry there. And by the end of it, we close off and I say something along the lines of, you're going to have to come visit me, right? She lives about like an hour and a half away. I say, you're going to have to come visit. She says, absolutely. She says, I love that. I think we're going to have to make that happen. Day or two goes by, we text. She still says, yeah, I'm going to try to come see you. I'm going to see you. So like these things are very, very easy. And an uncomfortable truth that you have to swallow is that it's okay to be a normal person. Like you do, like the guys who you think have these robust dating lives and are just so alpha and they're so strong and they're so jacked. Like you have to understand that A lot of that is to get your views, your subscribers, and your clicks. B, they're trying to look as if they're above you. And then C, you have to understand that a lot of times these guys aren't even getting the types of women that you think they are in the first place. Now, the whole key with this, you have to understand, is that I have been in your shoes more times than you could ever imagine. I know what it's like to look at a pretty girl and your heart rate goes up. I know what it's like to approach a cute girl and all of a sudden your mind goes blank because you realize that she's attractive and you hope to close the deal. I understand what all of that's like. I understand what all of the jitters is like. I understand when you pick up the phone and you call a girl in the first 90 seconds, it's rocky and there's hesitation on her end and yours because you guys are strangers. All of this is normal. This is so normal. Now, the truths that you have to swallow is that you have to be willing to give a little bit of your time, a little bit of your attention, a little bit of your validation so the girl feels safe. The girl feels secure. Most guys are doing just a piss poor job. I have never seen in my entire life, and trust me, I have been with more women than you, and I've dated far more women probably than you have over the years. And that stands true for me with a lot of people who are in my social circle and whatnot. And the fact is this: most guys are far too scared to overinvest in the beginning, which means they consistently hold back for fear of rejection. They will consistently self-sabotage interactions with women in fear of looking low value, in fear of looking beta, in fear of looking like they're too emotional. You have to understand just how ass backwards this is. If you can't create a good chemistry connection with a girl, if you can't talk to her for 20, 30, 40 minutes, develop a good vibe with her, actually have the right flow and have the right energy, how do you expect anything to go anywhere? Do you think you can just act like this brash son of a bitch and then all of a sudden you're just going to have women flooding? Like, do you understand it doesn't work like that? Do you understand, like, you have to actually get her to open up and feel safe with you? The biggest triggers that will actually make a woman want to feel safe is like showing that you care somewhat, showing in the beginning that you're not afraid to put yourself out there, building enough time and conversation with her, and not making sex the ultimate priority. Like, if you do these things, here's what's going to happen. Not only are you going to get more sex than you ever have before, not only are you going to have more women pursuing you in the long run, trying to lock you down, but now you're at a standpoint where you actually have options. From the outside looking in, other people are going to look at that and go, that doesn't go with the status quo. That doesn't go with the typical dating or red pill content. There's no way you should be getting results because technically that should turn her off. And you watch what happens when you're willing to engage in conversation. You watch what happens when you're willing to engage in communication. You have to understand that you putting yourself out there already separates your confidence from 99.9% of other guys because it shows that you're not scared of rejection. It shows that you're not scared of social risk. And here's the coolest thing about all of this. When you have the secret cheat code, right? This lethal cheat code, if you will. Here's what happens, okay? You start to develop an aura about you. And this aura that you carry with you, here's what happens is like me, myself, when I go into interactions with girls, I will completely overinvest in the beginning because I don't care if things go south. So I'm willing to just take a night and have a good dinner with a woman. I'm willing to take a night and hang out and watch a movie with a woman. I'm willing to take a night and hang out and have Ben and Jerry's with a woman. And do you know what happens when we're sitting there? We're making out, we're kissing, we're cuddling. There's touch. She feels safe. I didn't pursue for sex right away in the first half hour like so many guys do. I've built that chemistry and that rapport. Not only does the sex way better, not only does she start to anticipate it and crave it and want it more, but you have to understand that those are the subtle things that touch a woman's heart, so she keeps coming back. And when she keeps coming back to you, she's going to get a sense that this is the type of guy I want to lock down. So I have never once in my entire life seen a guy be able to act super brash, just have women come over and they sleep together repetitively, without investing or by just keeping that fake alpha persona that they're trying to put on. I've never once seen that happen and play out where the girl feels good about that, where she's not bitter and harsh by the end of it, where she doesn't feel used by the end of it. And by the end of it, you have toxic relationships where these guys they're not even getting laid anymore. By the end of it, the girl hates his guts. And by the end of it, he feels like a piece of shit because he didn't do anything on a human to human level to actually make this woman feel wanted. There's so much poor dating advice out there of guys who are not actually hanging out and having a social life. There's so much poor dating advice out there of guys who don't actually have women in their life. And I'm telling you this, when you have women in your life, they add massive benefit. They add benefit in layers that you didn't even know exist because they are providing a different type of energy. And the only way you can receive this is if you're willing to give a little bit. And when you give a little bit and you have no fear of rejection, you don't get attached, you don't become clingy and needy. I'm more than happy to spend an entire night with a woman. Okay, have a great interaction with her, have dinner with her, have a great time. Maybe it goes somewhere and things lead to the bedroom. Maybe it doesn't, but that's not the case. The case is if we don't talk then for 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, 6 days, 10 days, I don't care because I have my own life, which in the end makes her want you even more. So I hope that these things are making sense. And what I did in order to make these things make sense at an even deeper level is just this month, I came back and I put into my videos, or I came back and I brought back the MBT webinar. So if you don't know what MBT is, it stands for Masculine Behavioral Techniques. And right below this video, I'm running a free web class that you can hop into. Now, when you get into this web class, here's what's going to happen. Not only are you going to see the most easiest streamlined process to attract and actually keep the types of women that you want, but you can learn these techniques and you can learn this processes without a few things. Number one, without feeling like you have to risk a ton of rejection. Number two, without feeling like you have to put on this fake persona and feeling like you have to put on this pseudo alpha frame. And number three, you can do this where by the end of it, it feels like a win, not only for you because you got the woman that you want, but it feels like a win for her because she got the type of man that she wants. And it's about bringing that connection together so that way you can actually find the type of girl that you want. You can actually have a loyal, committed girlfriend one day. Like I put in a couple of days ago in my private group for, my clients and the guys who have worked with me in my programs, I put up a poll and I said, what do you guys want? And I go, not what the red pill gurus tell you to want on the internet, not what Casey tells you want. What do you want? And every single guy, like 80-90% of them, they all basically said they want a loyal, loving, committed, feminine woman to want them and desire them. And basically they wanted a committed relationship and one day to probably marry her. If that's what your human heart wants and deep down desires, why are you playing a different game that doesn't lead to that? Why are you trying to build rotations and all this stuff when deep down you don't want that and you're just told you're supposed to want that? You're told you're supposed to want this by the gurus. You're told you're supposed to want this by the influencers. You're told that you're supposed to want this by everybody on the internet, and you're told that you're a low value guy if you don't pursue those things. I cannot think of a more low value, less alpha thing than following the opinions of everybody else. Do you understand that I'm trying to show you this from the right angle? When I operate this way, I'm telling you this because I live this. The relationships and the experiences and the femininity that I receive from women is at the highest degree. And when I stopped doing all of the things that were not authentic to me, when I stopped putting on these fake personas, when I stopped thinking that the whole reason why you can't get the girls because you're not alpha enough for all of this, when I stopped head screwing myself, when I stopped self-sabotaging, when I actually stopped thinking that I wasn't enough because I don't know enough stuff, do you understand that things started to work? Things started to click? I desire for you on the deepest level to know what it's like to have these man-to-woman experiences that I've had. I desire for you on the deepest level to know what it's like to actually have women love and adore you in your life without you having to try super hard. And not to mention, I would love to have you know what it's like to obtain and retain the type of relationships with girls that you can have because you know what to do without things going south, without things going toxic, and without her completely hating your guts by the end of it. Like the things that I'm telling you will work. And not only is this true with my own experience, but it's been true with countless other, like thousands of others. I didn't enroll over 3,000 guys into a specific program and process and gather almost 1,000 testimonials by accident. So when I tell you to get into this web class, when I tell you to go look at all of these guys I've worked with that look just like you, it's because there's some truth to it. And there's some truth to it because I've done this for a lot of years and I know what I'm talking about. And between saving countless guys' relationships, making sure that their approach anxiety is cured, making sure they can talk to the type of women that they want, and make sure that they can decode her thoughts, feelings, and emotions, this is where things finally start to click. I hope you like this video. I realize it was kind of long, but you needed to hear this. It's an uncomfortable truth. And if you start to live and operate this way, if you start to reject a lot of the dating content you've consumed over the years, you clear your mind from a blank slate, you're gonna be better off.